Let's put it straight. No one wants to be alone. What the heck do you even do when you're alone? Well, what if we told you that for some people, being alone is not a death sentence? And it's those people who have unlocked Goku's version of Super Saiyan mode. And no, they're not weird for doing so. In fact, according to psychologists, solitude is a basic human need just as important as relationships. What's more, the ability to be alone is viewed as a sign of healthy emotional development. So you can easily be included in the ranks of these superhumans simply by adopting these 10 unexpected ways that will help you embrace solitude and thrive. Be sure to hit that like button and turn on notifications before we get started. Number 10. Seek out solitude. The first step to embracing solitude is to make time for it in your schedule. We know, it sounds scary, but think of it as facing your monsters head on. If you're making time to spend time with yourself, you won't dread the unexpected moments of loneliness when your friends cancel plans on you. Ideally, you want to start off small. Even 15 minutes a week works, and then gradually you can increase the duration. And this is going to do wonders for you. How's that, you ask? Well, the way we typically live our lives, we tend to get our validation from others around us. But when you're actively seeking solitude, you're essentially weakening that connection between your mind and your human relationships. And that puts you one step closer to embracing solitude. Number 9. Unlock your creativity. Once you've carved out time for yourself, the next logical question is, what do? You can't exactly fill up the time by staring at the walls. Well, you could go for a walk, but if you're serious about making the most of your alone time, then the best course of action would be to unleash your creativity. That hobby you always wanted to try but never had the chance to do? Well, this is it. Ideally, it would be something that gets those rusty gears working, like trying a new recipe in the kitchen, painting, writing, or even doodling. However, if you have something on your watch list that you're planning to watch in your dedicated alone time, then I'd advise against it. Chances are you're already binge-watching sessions when you're not out and about. So pick something that challenges you, something you wouldn't typically do. Think of solitude as a blank canvas, waiting for your brush to create a masterpiece. And did you know researchers have found that doing something creative can be therapeutically healing? So that's another reason for taking on something you've never done before. Number 8. Connect with nature. Say you're not someone who's up for something challenging. Well, then you can try connecting with nature. Did you know that trees can communicate with each other through deep underground networks? Yeah, well, for some weird reason that's not completely understood by science, spending time in nature can make us feel less alone. Thankfully, there are plenty of things you can do to connect with nature in your alone time. You can take up a new hobby and start growing plants. And if you're feeling daring, then growing your own kitchen garden is not a bad idea either. Going on a hike doesn't sound too bad either if you're up for it. But if all of this sounds like too big of a commitment, well, in that case, you simply go for a stroll and catch the sunset. But instead of trying to capture something for the gram, focus on the scenery before you. Number 7. Go out alone in public. Going out alone in public sounds counterintuitive. Heck, it may even sound scary. But hold up for a second. If you master the art of being alone in public, it will be an empowering feeling. You'll feel like you can be on your own without succumbing to the ghosts of loneliness. And this can be life-changing for people who tend to depend on others when it comes to going out. So start out small. No one's asking you to take the roller coaster alone. Instead, try having a coffee by yourself. And once you feel confident, you can even have a meal. Again, for this to work, you shouldn't be on your phone when you're out. Instead, take in your surroundings. And eventually, you'll reach a point where the idea of going to a museum or an art gallery alone won't seem too daunting. Number 6. Get in touch with your emotions. Spending time alone is the perfect opportunity to get in touch with your emotions. We did recommend some activities to fill up your alone time, but my advice would be to give yourself at least 5 minutes of nothing. No phone, no internet, no podcasts, no music, just you and your thoughts. We understand that this might get a little uncomfortable, but that's exactly the point. If you do get uncomfortable, simply follow this 4-step process. First, zero in on that discomfort. Learn to identify it. Next, note down how it's making you feel. And then, ask questions like, why are you feeling this way? How long does this particular feeling last? How's your breathing? And then lastly, take note of what you do to tackle that moment. Do you try to distract yourself? Now we know what you're wondering. Why go through all this trouble? Well, we could explain it, but we think Oliver Burkeman said it best in The Guardian. It's a curious truth that when you gently pay attention to negative emotions, they tend to dissipate, but positive ones expand. Number 5. Volunteer. Perhaps the best way to spend your alone time is to help others. Again, it sounds a little counterintuitive, spending your solitude time with others. But hear us out. Helping others is the best way to learn to appreciate those around you. Whether it's the person working at the counter or your neighbor, even a small act of kindness can make a huge difference in someone's day. Or if you're feeling up for it, you can volunteer at your local charity center. And it doesn't exactly have to be people. You can be of service to animals or even nature. Another added advantage of doing acts of service is that it's the best way to find yourself. Mahatma Gandhi wrote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." So you're essentially working on your connection with your inner self while helping out others in the process. It's a win-win for everyone. Number 4. Take care of yourself. And while we're on the topic, learn to take care of yourself as well. In our everyday lives, we tend to not pay attention to our bodies. And do you know that we're kinda setting ourselves up for failure that way? See, the mind is interconnected with the body, so if either one is out of order, then the other one checks out as well. Bearing that in mind, you could use your alone time to plan your daily meals, or maybe head to the gym. Heck, you could even head to the spa. Some people are big on skincare. The point is that whatever you choose to do should benefit you physically. Number 3. Learn to be grateful. If you intend to make the most of your alone time, then learn to be grateful. Generally, a lot of our negative emotions tend to come from us comparing ourselves with other people, while not appreciating ourselves or what life has given us. So if you focus on developing a sense of gratefulness during your time alone, you can definitely rein in those negative feelings. And it's not just about combating depression or anxiety. See, according to research, we can best feel the psychological benefits of having a social connection when we've got a good subjective sense of ourselves. So learn to be grateful. As childish as it sounds, make it a habit to write down 5 things you're thankful for every day. And with time, you'll definitely see some progress in this department. Number 2. Think, think, think. We believe we mentioned this before as well. You don't necessarily have to fill up your alone time with actual activities. You can also simply stay at your workstation and think. When you're alone, you have the space to think deeply about your life, goals, and values. This clarity can help you make informed decisions and prioritize what truly matters to you. So ask yourself important questions, like, what are my long-term goals? Am I happy with where I am in my life right now? Journaling can help out a lot in this department. And if you do it right, you'll feel like your alone time helps you deal with brain fog. Number 1. Know when it's time to connect with people. As important as solitude is, you gotta know when to head back to civilization. No one wants you to live like a monk. Human relationships are important. The purpose of introducing you to all these tips was simply to make you less dependent on these relationships and get rid of that dreaded anxiety and boredom when you're left alone. Remember, no one likes a loner, so when you're done with your solo time, feel free to hit up a friend. But how do you know when it's okay to do that? Well, the loneliness kicking in should be a good sign. It also lets you know that you've made good use of your alone time by winding down, and that it's time to seek out stimulation once again. Remember, embracing solitude is a journey, not a destination. Start small by carving out regular time for yourself, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Gradually increase your solo activities and be open to the unexpected joys and insights that arise. With practice, you'll discover the power of solitude to transform your life and help you thrive. Speaking of which, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content just like this.